This is 5 on your side at 10. Focused on you.
Now at 10, rain is falling in parts of our area tonight, and in just a matter of hours, it could shift into snow. It comes ahead of an Arctic blast headed our way this weekend that will keep us in the teens for several days. Thank you for joining us at 10. I'm Brent Solomon. Heavy winds in the forecast are only going to make it feel a whole lot colder. Let's get right over to meteorologist Gary Frank with that weather impact forecast.
Yeah, good evening, Brent. As we continue to look at some of this rain, and temperatures are still well above freezing. So positive news for everybody traveling here. You can see everybody's moving smoothly, but the headlights, of course, reflecting on the wet pavement here outside in Chesterfield. And you can look further to the south. They've seen more heavy rain. And you'll notice how we talked to you at 5, 6 o'clock about some of this rain being the bulk of it to the south. Let's focus on some of the areas that are getting a little bit more rain here at this hour. Breeze, Carlisle, Lively, Grove, Nashville, well to the south, even south of New Athens. But look at some of this rain here, Chester, Perryville, and Farmington. That's where the most soaking rain is right now, and that's where I think it's going to continue to be. You'll notice in Sullivan, you may get a few sprinkles along 44, but in general, that's not much rain at all. And I think over the next several hours, when you look at temps in the low to mid 40s, we're well above freezing at this point, and I think we're going to stay that way for a while. It's not going to be until 4, 5, 6 in the morning that we're going to see things fall. And like I said, you may mix in a flake of snow. This is not some snowstorm that you're dealing with overnight. Notice the temperatures when that starts to fall. I do think once things dry out, though, it gets much, much colder, and it's the wind that's going to be a big factor. We'll talk about how this temperature drop continues through tomorrow and just how cold it gets into next week.
Salt would help. Yeah. Now's the time to do it before that supposed to get cold again Monday and freeze.
12 days since the first round of snow hit St. Louis, and many streets are still difficult to drive on. Now the director of the Streets Department says she's trying to get to the bottom of it. In a letter to the Board of Aldermen, she says she was given incorrect information from city workers about salting and clearing snow and ice from secondary streets and hill routes. She believes city workers kept the truth from her. Some at the Board of Aldermen have concerns with that.
The number one job of every single person who works for the city of St. Louis is to make sure city services get delivered to the people of St. Louis. When you have a leader who's saying this isn't my fault or it's someone else's fault, it's like it all really ends with you. You know, if you're a leader in the city of St. Louis, it's your job to make sure things get done.
A spokesperson for Mayor Jones apologized for delays on the roads. Comptroller Darlene Green urged the mayor's office to spend emergency funds to hire contractors to clear the streets. The mayor then authorized those contracts to spend up to $200,000 to add another 9 snowplows to cover city streets.
I just want the trash picked up.
Well, some South City homeowners say their trash and recyclables haven't been picked up in 2 weeks. They're now running out of patience. After calling on City Hall and even their aldermen, they turned to 5 on your side. Tonight, Robert Townsend is getting answered.
Walk around Teresa Galloway's neighborhood near Carlsbad Drive and Tesson.
These 2 are full with lids.
And you'll see trash tipping the tops of bin.
The house next door to me is full with the lid that can't shut.
After bin. Oh yeah, she says many recycling containers are also almost running over.
You know, we try to even it out because you start running out of room.
Neighbors say for the past 2 weeks, city workers have not picked up the trash on their snow-covered streets, and their recycling bins haven't been collected for at least a week.
It's just, to me, just very, very frustrating because you go to put something in the trash and you're pushing down trying to get the next stuff on. So it was just crazy.
A few blocks over,
It's smelly. Our garage is smelly.
Savannah Robinson is also tired of the garbage going nowhere.
We have a newborn baby, so we're dealing with just like overkill of trash. We have 2 dogs, so stuff is just piling and piling.
I've called the city 3 times. I've had several different excuses. You know, our employees can't get in. We're short on employees. We're short on trucks. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, not my problem.
5 on your side took the trash pile-up problem to the city. Spokesman Rasmus Jorgensen said, "We are seeing delays in trash pickup because of the weather, with the refuse division completing 50% of its trash pickup last week." He also said with an accumulation of 6 inches of snow or temperatures below 10 degrees, refuse drivers do not have to drive per their union contract. A city spokesman says their crews are doing everything they can to try to catch up and pick up all this trash. Those drivers are even working throughout the weekend. That's not putting a freeze on neighbors' frustrations.
When are they coming?
Just pick it up, please.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
The city spokesman says crews are also salting alleys to help make them a bit more accessible for trash trucks. A St. Peter's woman facing a federal judge earlier today. Authorities say Danielle Bertati set a hotel, bar, and restaurant on fire in Puerto Rico. Earlier this month, she was caught on camera carrying a gas can to that property. And just a few days later, authorities searched her home and found a black dress that matches the one an arsonist was wearing in that surveillance video. While she faces charges here, property owner Angel Luis Mario is left with the aftermath.
What she did has no sense. I mean, she was senseless. I mean, I don't know what was the reason of harming my business. And even worse that, trying to kill people. She didn't realize the senseless consequences of the harm. I mean, she could kill people.
Bertati is set to appear in court again Wednesday. A judge will hear arguments for and against keeping her detained. Today, a man convicted of killing and beheading his ex-girlfriend was sentenced to 60 years in prison. Prosecutors say 25-year-old DeAndre Holloway killed Lisa Dodd in her apartment in 2022. She was 8 months pregnant. Holloway pled guilty to first-degree murder, intentional homicide of an unborn child, and concealment of a homicidal death. This after his legal team spent years trying to deem him unfit for trial. Israel's security cabinet approves a ceasefire deal. How many hostages and prisoners are going to be a part of a massive swap? President-elect Trump preparing for his big inauguration in just a matter of days. How the weather is shifting where that inauguration will happen. Just a few hours ago, Israel approved what could be a temporary ceasefire and hostage deal that's set to start Sunday. This after more than 15 months of war. More than 47,000 people have died. Come Sunday, Israel agrees to end its assault on Gaza and release more than 700 Palestinian prisoners. Hamas agreed to release 33 of its hostages during the first phase of the agreement, 3 of them on Sunday. Now, many Israelis and Palestinians say they're pleased a deal is in place.
First of all, I'm really happy. Of course, until it's done, I'm trying to stay calm until it's done because we are dealing with the worst people on planet Earth.
When I heard there was a ceasefire, I was happy. Here, there's no food.
The largely devastated Gaza should see a surge in humanitarian aid soon, but a permanent ceasefire is yet to be negotiated. Frigid weather is getting in the way of President-elect Trump's inauguration. Trump says he ordered the address, prayers, and other speeches to be delivered inside of the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. But security is also a concern. The Secret Service is leading the event, involving more than 25,000 workers. This summer's assassination attempt and the New Orleans terror attack, both helping shape security for this event.
It starts with no vehicles. Then it starts with checkpoints, and then it gets a little bit tighter as we get closer. You'll see people on roofs. You'll see lots of officers and agents on roofs. There's no stone unturned. There is no threat that is not mitigated.
The threat environment obviously changes as we move along. So we look at all of those different areas and we plan from the ground up.
30 miles of anti-scale fencing already in place. Drones and police robots are now being tested, and experts from more than 40 government agencies are patrolling the area by water, air, and beyond. A rapper from St. Louis is set to perform right after the inauguration. St. Louis native Nelly is taking the stage Monday night at the Liberty Inaugural Ball alongside other performers like Jason Aldean and the Village People. Trump is set to give remarks there. Well, you can watch Donald Trump's inauguration live on 5+ Monday morning. Streaming starts at 9 a.m. and you can find the app by searching KSDK on your Roku, Fire, or Apple TV. Getting to your weather impact forecast now, meteorologist Gary Frank is tracking a bit of a, winter mix heading our way?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not as concerned about that. I'm more concerned the fact that the temps are really going to drop overnight, and we're really going to feel it the next few days. And you're going to be stuck inside again if you didn't clear those roads off. And by you, I really mean I didn't clean my driveway off, and I cleaned some spots to walk, but it's going to get icy again. We've just added some moisture. Now, temps, we're in the mid-50s on the Missouri side, 40s on the Illinois side, and 56 today in St. Louis, the 16th warmest January 17th that we've seen. Far from our record in the low 70s, but still felt pretty nice. As far as our current temperatures are still concerned, we're in the mid-40s. This is 7 degrees above normal. And you'll look at a lot of melting that happened in Cuba. Highland, wet roadways, I still see snow. You'll likely still see snow just about everywhere you look. And I think you'll continue to see that. But here's where the colder stuff is. You can see 30s off to our northwest, 20s, and that's the progression of things. It's going to take a while to get here, but by the time you wake up tomorrow, we'll be in those upper 20s, around 30 degrees. It's colder. The wind is a factor as well. And you'll see where this rain right now has mainly settled south and east of 44. I think in general you've seen that 44 and 70, but right now as we continue to look, Belleville, Breeze, Carlisle, rain, Festus, south of Arnold, most of it's out of here. Anywhere else, maybe a few light areas of rain, but in general, Vandalia is kind of the cutoff off to the northwest. Now watch where this pushes out. By 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, still raining. We may see a few flakes mix in. I'm not all that concerned about it. It's just more of a conversational piece than anything. If you wake up early, you see a few flakes or flurries around. But look, our temperatures, upper 20s, low 30s. That's where we see that refreeze. And I think you may see more of that be an issue off to our south and southeast than anything else. Look at temperatures starting off in the 30s and falling into the 20s. It's one of those type of days where we're going to be talking about significant cold air. Here's where the real cold stuff is, and we've been tracking this for several days, 25 to 30 below. And watch how this barrels further south. It's starting to get closer, and that's what's headed our way. It's a matter of how cold it gets. When we talk about the wind chill on Monday morning for the holiday, we're talking about 5 to 10 below. And I think that's probably our coldest wind chill that we'll see, even as temperatures continue to be on the cold side here over the next few days. So we go from 31 with maybe a few flurries around. By Sunday and Monday, we're talking about temps in the 20s and then teens and single digits in the morning. Now, I am optimistic that we'll see that be very brief and try to moderate here as we get closer to the next few days. But still, I think by tomorrow morning, if you haven't cleared anything out, the driveway is going to be really slick, and we're still many, many days away from getting rid of all of that snow. One thing looks better, at least the sun is out, and we try to dry off, but it's cold, Brent.
Yeah, it is cold, but we got a little melting done today.
A little bit, just a little.
Yeah, we need a lot more, don't we?
Yes, we do.
That's all of our time for 5 on your side at 10, but remember, you can always get your local news on 5+. Now, here's Corey and Annie.